Alright guys, I am live. YouTube says I'm live, YouTube never lies, right? Welcome in. This is Hanging with Dave, episode 54, right? Yeah, if my math's done right. This is episode 54. It's a little live stream that I do every weekend here, usually 11 o'clock Saturday mornings on Eastern Standard Time here. I am from the U.S., so that's kind of what fits my schedule best. Kind of just hang out with me. We go down through the questions and comments been left on the past on the videos for the past week. A few disclaimers I want to throw out there. Number one, if you're new around here, I do enjoy me a cold Budweiser while I do the show. So cheers, y'all. I hope this Saturday's finding you well today. Also, there is a little bit of foul language. I try to keep it memorized, I try not to do it too much, but it does slip out. And some of the comments I get, they do have foul language over them. So, from time to time, you will hear foul language. If the drinking or the foul language ain't quite your cup of tea, maybe this ain't the right live stream for you. We do talk a lot of tech on this channel. This is a tech channel after all. I'm not very good with the English language, a little on these YouTube handles, so if I butcher your names too bad in the comments or in the chat, if you're live with me here this morning, and I butcher your names too bad, you're either going to get mad at me for a long time, or you will forgive me and move on, whichever way it may be. Just a few disclaimers I'd like to throw out. Also, I think I have one this week. Someone asked me, I got these particular components. What can I expect out of these components if I go overclocking them, this and that? And even if I do have the exact same components that you have, overclocking is designed to see what you can get out of your components. You can have the exact same CPU and motherboard I have, but your components is going to vary from what mine is. It's kind of hard for me to actually give you a straight up answer on what you'll be able to get out of your components. Like I said, when you're overclocking, everything varies. Even the chips and the motherboards are even vary from time to time. So there is that to keep in mind as well. But I will answer them the best that I can. I'll give you as much information and help as possible. Anything else I need a disclaimer about? I don't believe so. I think that pretty well wraps it up for the disclaimers. We'll flip over here and we'll start going down through these comments that was left this week. There wasn't a whole lot left this week, which that happens from time to time. Time to time I get slow weeks and there ain't a whole lot of comments on the videos. Also, if you have anything, like I said, there's chat over there. If you guys throw them over there, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to flip you guys over here and we will start going down through these comments and the questions and the concerns and all that happiness. Here we go. Here's my comments for this week that I haven't responded to yet. We have Yo Mama was right. I like that name. That's a pretty catchy name right there. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. You're the best. Thanks, man. Been looking for someone who didn't use XMP since I couldn't. Yeah, that's the problem. Since I couldn't. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to mute my video on my audio. But that's the problem with a lot of videos you watch, or people tell you turn on the XMP, but nobody breaks it down and shows you how to get the performance out of your RAM if your XMP ain't working correctly. That's why I kind of do the RAM overclocking videos. Kind of shows you how to manually do it. A lot of people tell you, they kind of give you a little bit of an idea, but they really don't break into it like I do. That's why I kind of do them videos the way I do. But you're welcome, and I want to thank y'all for the support for the channel, for the watches, for y'all watching my videos, for you guys that leave comments, appreciate it, the likes, the shares, all that good happy stuff. You know, it means a lot to me. You know, I say at the beginning, I say at the end. I don't want to do it after every comment like I used to because it gets awful repetitive. So I'll do it now, and then I'll do it again when I get done with the comments. But I do appreciate you guys watching the videos, and I know a lot of you guys that subscribe to the channel watch the videos even though you ain't interested in learning what I have to teach you. And it really means a lot to me just to watch you guys, you know, that you guys actually watch the videos and you leave a comment every week, you know, on every video that I put up. It's pretty cool. You know, it shows loyalty to me. I appreciate that a lot. Let's see here. Next on our hit list, we have Hordle, I guess is the way you pronounce that. Gamer, how to update your motherboard drivers. Hey, I have a problem. I can't find the chipset software thing when I hit the Windows. I ain't too sure on what he's talking about on that. Can't find the chipset software thing when I hit the Windows. If you download them, they go into your download folder usually, unless you put them someplace else. You have to reopen up your download folders, then you have to extract them, and usually they extract right back down into your download folders. I hope that kind of helps you a little bit. And of course, you know, sometime throughout next week I'll also go back and type back to the guys and answer the questions and comments. You know, I mean, I go through them here on the live show, but I also type back because I know a lot of them don't watch the live show to actually get the answers. Alright, we have Morton 6 days ago. How to overclock your Ryzen 5 2400G on the Gigabyte B450M port 3. Do you know how I can change my CPU voltage lower without a numpad? Yeah, if you have a key, what is it, 10 keyless keyboard, you use your minus keys and your number keys at the top of the keyboard. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. That's not in English. I have no idea. I have no clue, so I ain't going to try to pronounce that one. How to update your ASRock motherboard BIOS. I have a third-party file on my flash drive. Can this cause this problem? The thing is, I can't delete it from the flash drive. Information about the system volume. Flash drive is 32-bit format, but when I try to install the BIOS, writes the image file is not detected. Yeah, that third-party file, usually when you download your BIOS, it deletes everything off the flash drive. If there's anything on the flash drive that is protected and can't be deleted off, which I believe is what's going on with that flash drive you have, you'll have to get another flash drive to do your BIOS updates with. You won't be able to use it if it's got a third-party file on it. It can't be deleted off. It messes up with the BIOS, and it won't let you update your BIOS through that. So yeah, that the flash drive is causing it. It's the third-party file that's on it. Had Gaming, I guess. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. Yes, thank you a lot, sir. You saved me. Greetings from Iraq. Well, greetings to you. I'm glad I helped you with overclocking that RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard there. We have Aaron Johnson. Does it have Bluetooth? That was on Asus Prime B550M, a Wi-Fi motherboard. Yes, it does. As long as you run a I forget what it is, but as long as you're up to a certain version of Windows, it does have Bluetooth capabilities to it. I mean, if you look at the listing on it for it on Newegg, it does tell you what Windows version it has to be up to have Bluetooth capabilities. Blueberry Pie, it's the CV550 power supply from Corsair, a good power supply. It's applied to overclock, and also 550 watt enough for overclocking or no. It's pretty good. I mean, it is a bronze rated power supply, so it is made with better components. Is it good enough for overclocking? Depends on what you're overclocking with it, and what graphics card and whatnot you're running. Depending on your CPU, GPU combination, if you'll have any headroom for overclocking or not. Well, there's a lot that plays into that question, as far as your fans go, how many fans you're running, how much RGB you're running, how many drives you're running. There's a lot that plays into that. 550 watt power supply, the CV550. It's gonna be plenty for most of your builds. The 550 watt, I mean, you go all the way up to probably a 2070 Super and be all right. Still have plenty of room for overclocking. I've used quite a few of them power supplies. I actually got one here now. I've never had no problems with them. You try to, whenever you look at your GPU, whatever they recommend, you try to stay within that spec of power supply limits. But you can usually get away with a little bit weaker than what you're using, or what they suggest. I'm overclocking a Ryzen 3 3100 and our RX 5500 XT, 2 drives, 250 gig SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive. What motherboard you using, Blueberry Pie? I want to say at 550 watts gonna be fine. 5500 XT. I don't think I only recommend like a 450 watt power supply for those things, I believe. If even that. The specs. 5500. Yeah. MSIB 450M. Yeah, actually, if you're running the 5500 XT, there's one of them pulled up. Here's the Gigabyte. This is the first one that showed up on Newegg for me. But they only recommend a 450 watt power supply for that graphics card. That should give you plenty of room for overclocking. The 3100 with the B450 Tomahawk motherboard. Tomahawk's pretty good overclocking motherboard. Yeah, you should be fine with the CV550. You plan on overclocking your CPU and GPU both, I think you'll be plenty. You only got 2 drives, which is a standard setup. Yeah, at 550 you should be fine with overclocking with it. Shouldn't have no problem. Like I said, the graphics card's only requiring a 450 watt power supply, so you got 100 watts overhead. You should be good. Most of the time when it comes to overclocking, it's actually your temperature is going to hold you back before your power supply will. You're welcome, Blueberry Pie. Thanks for watching me this morning, bud. I know you tune in quite frequently. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're able to come out and hang out with me here on the weekends. Who else do we got here on our hit list? I think I did that Haiti Gaming, I believe. Greetings from Iraq for the overclocking of the RAM. The Bluetooth, we done covered that one. Oh, whoops. Maybe I'll flip you guys over here, huh? Who else do we got here? Mohammed Aslam, I guess. How to build a gaming PC in a fractal design focused G case. How did you connect the fans? I heard the board has 1 fan header and the case comes with 2 fans. I got my board but not the case. Also, how did you get the fan splitter? I'm building a PC for the first time and I am concerned. The fan splitters I usually use is a 1 to 3 fan. because I build so many systems. I never know what kind of situations I'm going to end up in. And you shouldn't run more than 3 fans off any one fan header. That's why I normally buy the 3 fan headers, the three-way splitters. I don't know. I don't know exactly how long it's been since I've ordered any of them. May have been quite a while. Let me see if I can find them for you. I think I ordered some this year. I don't think you guys want to see all my history of that's LED splitters. My history of orders on Amazon. There's some funky stuff on there. Let's see here. Where are they at? Where are they at? Maybe I didn't even order any this year. Maybe 2019 when I ordered them. Well, maybe not. I know I ordered them off of Amazon. Did I order them off of Newegg? Let's check Newegg. Maybe I ordered them from Newegg. I thought for sure it was Amazon I got them things through. Let's see here, year 2020. What did I order in 2020? Too much stuff. Too much tech ordered in this household. If you type into Amazon, just go in there and put in a 3-way PMW fan splitter, they'll show up. Cause I'm not finding what I actually use for mine. For some reason I can't find them on Newegg or Amazon. I'm not sure where I ordered them from. I think I got mine from Amazon. But yeah, you just go in and put in 3-way fan splitters, PMW fan splitters, and they should show up for you. How much can you overclock a Ryzen 3 3100? Using a Tomahawk motherboard, like I said, they're a pretty good motherboard for overclocking. What you can actually get out of it, that's going to vary. I got the $600 build back there with the 3100 in it, which I haven't even got close to overclocking on it yet. I actually just got the benchmarks done for the graphics card in it. I'm not too sure on what that Ryzen 3100 will overclock to. I really can't give you a straight answer on that one. Sorry, Blueberry. Hey Dave, what legacy of voltage should I changing my BIOS to make my Corsair RAM 8 gig 3200 megahertz to $29.99? I have the B450M S2H motherboard of Gigabyte. You got a different motherboard than I've ever dealt with. It sounds like you're downclocking it from 3200 megahertz to 2999 megahertz. I'm not too sure. As far as the voltage go, I usually go with 1.35 volts. That's what most XMP sets your voltage to, so I kind of consider that kind of the safe range for overclocking your RAM. Which, if you're undervolting, you can actually go lower than that if you're undervolting or underclocking it. But if you got 3200 megahertz RAM, why would you go for $29.99 if you can get it to run 3200? Especially on an AMD system. If it's a Ryzen system, if you can get 3200 megahertz out of it, I'd run 3200 megahertz. It's going on 2133 megahertz now. Yeah, that's what most DDR4 memory runs out of the box, unless you go in and overclock it, or if you go in and turn on your XMP profile. But I mean, I turn on the XMP, See if it runs stable. If it don't, try to type in them same figures manually. There's a couple reasons why I recommend doing that. Number one, you do that because that's what you should be shooting for. You know, that's what your motherboard says. That's what your RAM's capable of doing. That's what you should be getting out of it. And if it don't, it gives you a good starting point. You know, maybe loosen up your timings a little bit, or maybe cut back your speeds a little bit to make it to where it's stable. That's why I actually recommend starting out with the same numbers that the XMP throws in there. You know, but if you got 3200 megahertz speed of RAM at 8 gigs, I try to get the max out of it. You say you got 8 gigs of RAM. I hope that's a dual channel kit, because running dual channel compared to a single channel is going to make a bigger difference than the speed of it actually. I'm actually thinking about doing a video on something like that, how dual channel is so much better than faster single channel is. That's just something in my mind. I haven't started recording nothing on it yet. But I'd definitely, like I said, you know, I'd at least go in and that motherboard, the S2H, it ain't from the US. I actually thought about ordering one of them motherboards before to do videos on, because someone asked for it. But just because it's from overseas, I don't know when I would get it. I have no idea when the videos would go up. By the time I would order it and it'd show up, I'd probably forget all about it and why I even ordered it. And because it is something that ain't common here in the US, it'd be hard for me to resell. So, because I've had a few people ask me about that S2H motherboard. But yeah, I mean, if you were at a 2133, you know, any kind of overclock you can get out of it would be a decent upgrade to you. But definitely make sure you're running at least dual channel kit of RAM. That'd make a bigger difference than the speed would. Flip you guys back over here so we can see the other screen here. So the fan connectors, you know, I think I ordered them off of Amazon. Just put in there a PMW fan splitter. Let's see here. PMW fan splitter from Amazon. Yeah, right there, you get 2 of them for $10. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4. It splits into 4 fans. Right there's 1 to 3. I think them's the ones I actually ordered. Them looks like the ones that I ordered. Like I said, I wouldn't go with more than 3, any 3 fans off of 1 header, because you may burn out the fan header. Something like that would, you know, you seen what I typed in, is PMW fan splitters, and you get an option of what kind of splitters you want. You know, they even got the control boxes for them, the splitter boxes, and then you have these fan hub splitters. But I actually got a couple of these, and they got room for 5 fans. I still wouldn't run more than 3 fans off any of them. It's 4 cores, 8 threaded, and 16 gigs of RAM, 3000 megahertz dual channel, and RX 574 gig, enough to stream on OBS, Twitch. 4 core, 8 thread, RX. You want to do 1080p streaming. That 4 core thread processor would be my biggest. I mean, you can do it. You'll probably have to cut down to 720p streaming. If you had a NVIDIA card with the new NVENC encoder, I'd say yeah. Or if you had at least a 6 core processor, I'd say yeah. I mean, you can do it. You just have to cut back the resolution some on your stream. You can probably do a 720 stream a lot better than you could a 1080p stream. Number one, that RX 570 with the 4 gigs of RAM Radeon with the 570 didn't have a very good encoder for streaming. And a quad core processor, even with 8 threads, even with the SMT, it's a little lackluster or it's a little weak for streaming on Twitch if you're using the 264 encoder. I mean, it is possible. I mean, I understand that you're on a budget. You know, I understand you don't have a whole lot of money. I understand this. You know, you can get by with it. You just have to cut down the quality of your stream some. You should be good for a 720p stream. Should be able to do 720p with probably with a 60 hertz output to it, or a 60 fraps, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, you could try 1080p, but that quad core with 8 threads is going to be you're going to be really maxing out that CPU with that. And like I said, the 578, the Radeon group didn't have very good drivers for the streaming capabilities. But I mean, it is possible. Like I said, you just have to cut back to a 720p stream. And when you're streaming, you gotta consider, you know, by processing that stream out like it does, it's gonna cut back on the performance of the game as well. So you probably game at 1080p and stream at 720p, I'd say. You'd probably be alright. I think you'd be alright with that, you know, with them settings. At 720p good. I tell you the truth, I've been doing video for quite a while, and I know I'm a pretty small channel yet. But you know, it's more or less the content that matters more than what the resolution does. You know, I figure since I went to 4K that my videos be getting more views, YouTube be pushing them out. I'd have been better off to save my $750 and stuck with 1080p. Tell you the truth though. 720p, it is good. You know, it's gonna be your personality on stream. It's gonna be what people like about you. You know, it's gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be people wanting to hang out with you. Especially when you're streaming, you know, people want to talk to you. People want to know your ideas or your opinions on this or that, or, you know, they like the way you play the game. I'm assuming that you're going to be going for gameplay on Twitch. But yeah, it ain't too bad of a resolution for streaming. It gives you a good starting point. And like I said, it's normally, you know, the better the content is, or the more active you are, especially when you're streaming. I guess it's kind of streaming 101, I guess, you know. Make sure you interact with people that come into your chat, which I don't have a whole lot of people to interact with. But, you know, the more interaction you share with your chat, the more likable you are as a person. You know, the way you come off, you know, make sure you don't come off too cocky or you're too high and mighty, you know. Make sure you're kind of down to earth and whatnot. But yeah, 720p is a good, is a decent resolution for streaming to start out. You know, I hope you're the best on your Twitch streams. I hope you do well with that. I'd like to get into doing more streaming on Twitch. I do have a Twitch channel which I never use. But of course, I got the 2070 Super, so I don't have no problem with what you're looking at. But yeah, I think you'd be alright with a 720 stream to start out with on Twitch. Have you ever done any streaming yet, or are you just looking to build a system for streaming? understood what capture cards are or what they are used for. Can you explain? Capture cards. Alright. I have, let's see here, the 4K 60 Pro. It depends on what you're wanting to do. As far as streaming goes, still looking to build a system. Okay, this right here is what I've got. This ain't cheap by no means, and there's a lot cheaper options out there. But I was wanting the 4K resolution because my video's in 4K. But come to find out, once I bought this, I can't do 4K streaming because of my internet connection. But it's the Elgato 460K Pro MK.2. It is searched into the graphics card. And of course they ain't gonna give me no decent pictures of the damn thing. Of course not, why would it? I'm trying to get a picture of the back of it. But a capture card, more or less, if you've seen any of my, like the 5600 benchmarks or whatnot, or if you're using an Xbox or a PlayStation, you hook them up into the capture card, and then you can do the rendering and the video capture on a different device. That way it don't affect the device that you're playing the game on. Like right now, Wally, hey Dave, hey, what's going on, buddy? I'm glad you came in and joined me today. Right now I'm using that capture card I showed you, the Elgato 460K. I'm using it to capture my 4K camera. You know, like if you got a webcam or something like that that hooks up through USB, you're alright. The camera that I'm using to do my live stream with, I have to have a capture card to be able to capture that signal to be able to put it into the system. It don't have an HDMI port to it that hooks directly into the motherboard or anything like that. You have to have a capture card to be able to capture that the video. I hate it when they don't give pictures of the things you are trying to buy. Yeah, Wallace, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I got one in and one out on this Elgato 460K Pro. And it's if you're trying to capture from one device to another. If you see my benchmark videos coming up this week actually. I gotta run a cable from the computer into my Elgato, and then from the Elgato back into the monitor that I'm actually playing the game on. That way the system that I'm playing the game on don't take a hit on the frame rates, to kind of give you an actual idea of what kind of frame rates you expect in the gameplay. You know, it's a way to capture, video capture card is a way to capture video for something that actually don't have the capabilities built into them. And like a webcam, it's got the capabilities to capture that video signal. You know, my Lumix that I just got, or the one I've been using now for a couple months, you know, it don't have a way to capture it natively, so it's got to go through the capture card to be captured. And if you're doing an Xbox or PlayStation 4 or something like that, and you don't want to live stream through the particular system, you have to have a computer with a capture card to capture that video to be able to upload it or to be able to stream it to a platform. Will God allow me to be gay? Sorry, bud, I don't answer religious questions on this, on the channel, bud. Two things I don't get into is politics and religion. Top 3 motherboard brands, top 3 graphics card brands. We'll get to that here in a second. You know, the capture card, you really don't need a capture card. If you're playing and streaming on the same system, you really don't need a capture card. If you have a multi-PC setup for your streams, which Blueberry Pi, I believe you're going to have one system to do it all with, it sounds like. You ain't going to have to worry about a capture card. If you're going to be using, if you use PlayStation or Xbox, you'll have to have a capture card. But rather than that, you know, if you're playing and streaming on the same system, you don't need a capture card. If you're going to use a multi-PC setup for your streams, then you'll have to have a capture card. I hope that helps you out a little bit. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess. Or it is anyways. So you put the cable from the graphics card to the Elgato and the Elgato to the monitor. Yes. That way, whenever I'm playing my games, there's no hit on the system I'm actually playing on. That's the way you use a capture card. And a lot of streamers do it if you have a 2 PC setup for streaming. That way your game, the system that you're playing the game on is only doing the gaming part of it. The other system that's got the capture card in it is doing the rendering and the processing to send it up to Twitch. I hope that kind of clears that up a little bit. Sorry to disturb you. We don't know each other, but I wish you all the best in life and may all things work out in your favor. Well, thank you, Lucas. Appreciate that. I'm glad you stopped in and seen me. Blueberry Pie, thanks, Dave. I guess I don't really need to buy it then. No, not really. If you're going to be streaming and gaming on the same system, you really don't need a capture card. What was the other one I said that I was going to get back to? Then you too, Lucas. Top 3 motherboard brands, top 3 graphics card brands. And that's Wally. Top motherboard brands, top 3 motherboards. Number 1 for me would be Asus. Especially if you're looking to overclock, it'd be Asus. Then I'd go with, it's a big toss-up between Gigabyte and MSI. They both make pretty good motherboards. I've had a little bit of problems with MSI with the customer service in the past. Gigabyte I've never had a problem with, so them two's kind of up in the air for second spot. Then my third motherboard manufacturer would be Azerock. Gigabyte, MSI both make wonderful motherboards. You usually don't have a whole lot of issues with them. But, you know, when I did have problems with MSI, I had problems with the return policy once I couldn't return it from where I bought it from. Gigabyte, I've never had a problem with them. You know, I say, hey, my motherboard messed up. This is what's going on. Can I get a replacement? You know, they send me a packing list, you know, a shipping list, shipping label. I'll ship it back. They ship me another one. You know, MSI can get a little bit finicky with that. So I'd have to say Asus for my top motherboard. Second place would be MSI or Gigabyte. Then my third one would be Azerock. You know, and the reason for Gigabyte being kind of equal with MSI is once you get into the BIOS, the way they have things wrote, they ain't really noob friendly, or, you know, friendly to someone that really don't know what's going on within the motherboard BIOS. Just the way they pronounce stuff, the way they write it out, it can get kind of confusing. You know, and then all 4 of those is pretty good. You know, they got pretty good support for the motherboards. MSI, like I said, I have had issues with in the past. I mean, they've always stood behind me, but it's just the process of it. It's a lot harder to get a return or a refund out of them. Top 3 graphics cards. I like EVGA for my graphics cards. They're usually a little bit more reasonable than a lot of the bigger name brands, but they still have good products. So I'd have to say EVGA is going to be my #1 pick for graphics cards. If you're going with AMD, XFX makes a pretty good graphics card. I've never had no issues with their graphics cards. And then again, in third spot, I'd say probably Gigabyte. Gigabytes, I mean, you know, they do a lot of different stuff, but they're pretty good. And Gigabyte, I've never had no problem with their refund system or their RMA policies. But my top graphics card pick would be an EVGA. Asus graphics card does a little bit better overclocking, but you know, and I've never had to deal with Asus's or Asus's return policies, but I don't know. Maybe I just got my favorites and I just can't get away from them. What else do we got here? Look at this do you use a Cherry MX keyboard? Actually, I use the blue switches. I don't even know what the hell this thing is even called. I got it from Mono Price. Oh, excuse me. I use a blue switch. They are a Cherry switch. It's actually pretty tactile. You can probably hear it in the videos when I got a click. But they are a cherry switch. They are a blue switch. Wally, really agree in that top. Hello, peace. How you doing, buddy? Glad you joined me. Hey, Asus is #1 for me too. Yeah, as far as the motherboards go, Asus is kind of hard to beat. They do. It seems like they take a little bit more time. They make sure the BIOS is right. They make sure they're, Asus is usually a little bit more expensive than most, but they do make sure their stuff is right. And they're a little bit better capacitors if you're wanting to overclock and stuff like that. So yeah, Asus makes pretty good stuff. Which I've used the video cards in the past. Like I said, you know, I'd recommend a Gigabyte over Asus as far as the graphics card goes. Is mini ITX worth it, and we'll still need ATX for more performance? Is mini ITX worth it, or will we still need ATX for more performance? Depending on what you want to consider performance. Mini ITX is usually made for smaller form factors. You know, if you need something that takes up a little bit of room on your desk or something like that, they're a little bit harder, especially when you're talking about the cases. They're a lot harder to work in because they're a lot smaller. ATX, the performance is really the same because of the size. Yeah, ATX, you can get about the same performance out of either way, out of a mini ATX or an ATX. Usually the ATX usually has more expansions. You know, you have more PCI Express 16 slots on the motherboard. You usually have more SATA ports on the motherboard. You usually have more M.2 slots on the motherboard. It basically depends on what you need. You can get Asus motherboards and mini ITX form factors that's going to overclock this as well as the full ATX motherboard does. But they just don't have the expansion. You know, it depends on what your expansion needs. You know, like I said, you know, you got the extra SATA ports on the full size motherboards. You usually have more M.2 slots on the motherboard if you go with ATX size. Usually the ATX motherboards usually have more fan headers. You know, if you need more system fans put in your system. But as far as performance go, there really ain't much of a difference in the performance aspect. It's just the expandability and what the motherboard can control. You know, the connectivity to the motherboard. That's the big difference. And because the micro ATX boards are so small, you know, a lot of times they only have one fan header on them. Where an ATX motherboard, you could have 4 or 5 fan headers on them. You know, the mini ITX motherboards may only have 2 or 3 SATA port connectors to it. Well, a full-size motherboard may have, you know, 6 or 7. You know, just, you know, the main thing is just the expandability of the full-size motherboards. And you have to kind of go into what your space or how your setup's laid out to be able to justify if you need a smaller form factor case or if you can handle a full-size case. Yeah, so it kind of all depends, you know. I mean, there really ain't much of a performance difference. It's just the compatibility of them. Let's see here, Blueberry Pie. Right now I have an old Asus laptop which has a i7 2-core 4-thread processor, and which has been good when I bought it. Yeah, they usually hold up pretty good. Especially when you come to late laptops, Asus are usually one of the better brands out there for the laptops. What do you think about Apple's M1 CPU, Dave? They are changing the game. I'm not too much into the Apple news. I don't know what Apple's doing over there. You know, I've got a lot of people that ask me if I work on iMacs or the laptops and whatnot, and I don't deal a whole lot with Apple. Apple is such a niche product, and to be able to even work on a Apple product, you gotta go through their schooling to be able to even get ports for their computers. And then the area I live in, you know, Apple just ain't dominant enough to really justify the cost. I really don't pay that much attention to Apple. Let's see here. Apple M1 CPU. What are they offering? 8-core CPU in the A1 is by far the highest performance CPU we've ever built. So Apple's just now getting up to an 8-core processor? Sounds a little lackluster to me, but as ARM got really competitive performance. 0310A shiny. Did you manage to get any of the 3000 series graphics cards? No, I haven't. I haven't been able to land the 3000 series graphics card. I haven't been able to I've even been looking for the 6000 series from Radeon, and I haven't been able to get either one of them. You know, I've tried on launch days to catch them, you know, even when the 2060 Ti came out, or the 3060 Ti, I'm sorry, and I can't catch neither one of them. I can't, I don't know, I just don't have the luck of the draw. I'd like to be able to get a hold of one for a decent price, but I'll be damned if I want to pay these scalpers what they're wanting for something that shouldn't be, that's way overpriced. You know, I just ain't paying them prices. It just ain't gonna happen. It's about 10:30 p.m. in my place, and I have to sleep. Sadly, I have to leave. Thank you for everything, Dave. When are you going to stream again? Probably next Saturday. Probably next Saturday morning. I'll probably be when I stream again. I really don't have much time for any other streams, but thanks for hanging out with me. I understand you gotta get sleep and sleep where you're at. I understand that. No apologize. No, you don't need to apologize for it. Have a good night's sleep there, Blueberry Pie. And plan on being here next Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time again. While it's here's almost 14 p.m. What a difference. What's 14 p.m.? Yep. 14 p.m. You mean 2 p.m.? Is that military time? Thanks, Dave. Have a great day. You do, Blueberry Pie. Thank you for hanging out with me as long as you did, bud. Appreciate it. Means 2 p.m. That's what I was thinking. It's military time. I think. That's what I was thinking too. I didn't know if she mispronounced it or she hit the wrong number or something maybe. Maybe she was saying 12 p.m. or something, just hit the wrong key. With military time, 14 p.m. would be 2 p.m. Alright, let's see if I can remember where I was at. It's Mini January. Hi, how you doing? Glad you could join me this morning. Glad you found the stream. Welcome in. I like seeing new names in the chat over there. Flip you back over here and we'll see where I was with the questions and the comments. That's the one I've been working on answering. Fan splitters, just put them in the search box on Amazon. Yeah, I meant 2 p.m. LOL. Yeah, it's 1400. It's military time. I'm building a PC for my first time and I am concerned. Yeah, as far as them splitters go, a quick search on Amazon. Whenever I type him back, I'll throw him, a link to Amazon that leads them right to it. We have Bogadan Aspron, I guess we pronounce that. 5 o'clock in your aim on the B450M. You high? Nah, I was just extremely tired that day. In fact, quite a few people asked me if I was drunk or if I was high or whatever was going on that day. It's night in Romania. Yeah, a lot of the world it's nighttime. It's actually still morning here. Well, 11:52 a.m. So it's still somewhat morning, I guess you could say, almost noon. So no, I wasn't high. I was just tired on that video. What else do we got here? How to overclock your AM on the Gigabyte B550M DS3H motherboard. We have memes. Good tutorial, Dave. Then we got Nelly000. Well, yeah, well done. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that. You're the best YouTuber. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know if I'm the best or not, but I put out the content the best way I know how to kind of get people that really don't know what I'm talking about to understand what I'm talking about. I'm here for the beginner. I'm here for the noob. Appreciate that. Glad you think I'm the best. Means a lot to me. Kind of warms my heart up a little bit, actually. I ain't going to try to pronounce this name because I have no idea what kind of characters them even are. Right there. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B550M DS3H. I have a question. I have the B450M S2H Corsair 8 gig 3200 megahertz. I want my RAM to perform at 2666 or like 2900 megahertz. Not the exact 3200. What changes should I make in the BIOS? Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm not too sure on that. That's one of the overclocking questions. You know, especially with that motherboard, that S2H motherboard. I have no clue what that motherboard's capable of. I don't even know exactly how to answer that question. Oh, leave me alone. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Wale, do you think the AMD RX 6000 series won against the NVIDIA 3000 series? I think they brought the competition to where it needed to be brought to. As far as beating them, I think NVIDIA still got a lead, especially if you're looking at the RTX features of these video cards. I think NVIDIA still got the lead over what AMD's got, but of course, NVIDIA's had a year or a year and a half to improve on the RTX performance. I think the 6000 series has brought the competition to that market where NVIDIA's never had to face before. The higher end cards, I think AMD's actually kind of won it, especially for the price to performance. The 6800 compared to the 3070, you know, with what I've seen for the benchmarks on them two cards and the price difference, depending on your use case scenario, especially because the RTX does have that better streaming capabilities. But the Radeon cards still cost $80 more. And the performance for the extra $80, I think there should have been a more performance gap to it. As far as the high-end cards, I think AMD kind of took it to them. That lower one, you know, like I said, the 6800 XT, I think it was. The 6800 compared to the 3070. I think AMD kind of dropped the ball on there by asking $80 more than what the 3070 is. You know, AMD's definitely stepped up their game and brought some competition into the higher brackets of GPUs, which I'm hoping is going to show NVIDIA that, you know, they ain't untouchable and they're going to have to drop the prices some. But with the 3000 series, with the performance that you get for the dollar, it's pretty hard to beat. I mean, I think they both do a wonderful job at what they're made to do, and the pricing, like I said, I think seems to be pretty fair. Besides that low-end 6000 series card, they're asking $80 more for it than the 3070, but the performance gains ain't really there to justify the $80 price tag difference. I think they need to drop that bottom tier of AMD down a little bit in price to be an all-around winner in the situation. When I play games, my CPU and GPU are around the 30 to 40% usage. Am I being bottlenecked? I also don't get the FAPs I was being before. Your CPU and GPU only hitting 30 to 40% usage? Am I being bottlenecked? Yeah, this year was a war. Yeah, they really brought the war to NVIDIA. Kind of made me smile when I seen the performance numbers of them, actually. What CPU and GPU you got? Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, your CPU and GPU is only hitting 30 to 40% usage. But the only other thing that could really be holding you back would be your RAM. If you're only running 4 gigs of RAM, or depending on your CPU GPU combination, you know, even 8 gigs of RAM may be holding you back, depending on what processor and GPU you're using. You know, rather than your CPU, GPU, and RAM, that'd be about the only thing that would be bottlenecking each other. The Ryzen 5 1600 with the 1660 Super, 16 gigs of RAM at 2666. The 1600 and the 1650 Super, that's a pretty good combination. 16 gigs of RAM shouldn't be holding you back. While I'm playing games with CPU and GPU are hitting 30 to 40% usage. Yeah, you're right there, Wally. It depends on the game and the game engine. 1600, that's a 6-core, ain't it? Dual channel. Well, that's important to know. I don't see how your RAM could be holding back your CPU or your GPU. I'm assuming that you're going to be on an SSD running your games. Maybe you're trying to play the latest games on a insane resolution in-game graphics. That'd be a possibility, but if he's trying to run the latest games at an insane resolution, he should still be hitting 30 to 40, a lot higher than 30 or 40% usage on the GPU. That 1660 Super should be maxed out. With 16 gigs of RAM behind it, 1600. Yeah, SSD, no 1080p, lowest settings to get the max frame rates. Because an R5 with a 1660 Super should play most games in mid graphics. I was doing the benchmarking. I've actually been working on benchmarks for a 1650. I've got OC edition. And I've been able to run Borderlands 3 above 60 frames per second on medium settings. That 16 Super should be running 1080p. Pretty well max settings. Just about any game you want to play. That is curious, because a 1600 is a 6-core processor. You got the 1660 Super, 16 gigs of RAM. It's definitely weird that your CPU and GPU is only hitting 30 to 40% usage. I mean, it just don't sound right. 16 gigs of RAM would be more than enough RAM to handle both of those with no problem. It's probably the game's because of a new series coming out. Don't you guys think it may be thermal throttling? Well, it could be thermal throttling. I mean, that never really crossed my mind, but it could be thermal throttling. If you're hitting 30, 40% on your GPU and CPU, it could be thermal throttling. What's your temperature looking like? Have you ever tested your temperature, seen what they look like? The 1660 Super, it'd be kind of hard. I mean, it'd have to be a pretty enclosed case to be able to overheat that 1660 Super. Not unless the CPU's thermal throttling and cutting it back, maybe. Yeah, as long as you're in the 60, 70 degrees range, you should be good as far as temperatures go. You wouldn't really need a water cooler. I mean, that'd be a big improvement, but they were good. Looked at the temps, they are good. It may be the CPU. It could be a CPU going bad. I mean, it's hard to burn up a CPU. I mean, in the years I've done this, it's very seldom do I ever see the CPU go bad. I mean, it does happen. I'll grant you that. But you've been running 3.8 for quite a while. If you've been running an overclock at 3.8 for quite a while, I think you turn it back down to your basic settings. Only maybe 2 weeks. I was going to say, if you've been running 3.8 for a while, take it and turn it back to your factory settings and let it run at stock speeds and see if that improves anything. Yeah, exactly, Wally. That's what I was saying. Turn it back to stock settings and try again. Because I know a lot of times when you go into overclocking, once you get into the overclocking side of things, they may be stable today. Within a couple months, they'll go unstable. Especially if you're pushing it to that high frequency to where it's right there on the borderline. It may not, the overclock may not hold for long. It's kind of strange that CPU and GPU usage both is low and your temperatures are alright though. It's definitely it'd be definitely something different. Sorry, I really don't have a straight answer on that one for you. I mean, you got 16 gigs of RAM with a 1660 Super with a 6-core processor. I think should buzz through pretty well any game you want at 1080p. If I take out the CMOS battery, should I just go into the BIOS? The easiest way to reset your BIOS, if you want to go back to factory settings, go into your BIOS, hit your save and exit, which is usually F10 on the motherboard. Go down to load optimized defaults. I think is what it's called. In most motherboards, it's called load optimized defaults, which will pretty well reverse any change that you've made to your motherboard. And hit save and exit again, and it should show you the changes that was made. Then just hit OK. If you're running XMP, you may have to go back in and redo your XMP profile, because it will set your BIOS back to complete stock settings by loading them defaults. Yeah, the RX 570 is still a pretty solid card for 1080p gaming. You know, there's actually a couple comments on the 1650 that I put in the $600 build. People asked me why I didn't go with the RX 570. It's just because I couldn't find one at the right price point at the time. I couldn't fit it into the budget. For 1080p gaming, you know, the RX 570 does a wonderful job at it. You know, it kind of compares to the 1650 that I got. We'll flip back over here and get back into some of these comments there. I'm not even really sure where I was at on these things, actually. Kind of lost my place. Yeah, because that's about the S2H motherboard. I really don't know what to tell you about overclocking it. Really, I really don't. We got Jen Garcia. I need help. I recently ordered an Asus Prime B550 Plus. I'm not sure whether or not it's good, and I've seen little reviews about the motherboard. It doesn't include Wi-Fi or any Bluetooth. I actually seen this comment a few days ago when it came in. And it seems like it's more one of the budget-oriented motherboards. ASUS Prime B550 Plus. I mean, ASUS usually puts out pretty good products. It's more one of the more budget options, but it looks like it's still pretty solidly built. Still looks like it has decent VRMs for the price tag on it. Of course, that ain't the cheapest one that there is. There's one here, the same exact motherboard for $129. You know, by the reviews on it I'm seeing, it seems to be an alright motherboard. I've never used that particular motherboard. I've never used the Plus. It's a little bit more oriented, you know, budget oriented than most that I normally use. But it seems like it, by what I've seen of it, I think it'd be a pretty good little motherboard. You know, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to, you know, do a whole lot with it, but it, I mean, for $129, it should be pretty good. Okay, maybe install, update AM4 chipset drivers. Fresh install the Windows. The spec sounds good. When I just update Windows, sometimes things are weird, so cloud reinstall quit a bit. I had to manually set the RAM because when I put in XMP RAM runs 3200 MHz, I recently learned that the Ryzen 5 1600 can only support 2666. Maybe BIOS upgrade. I've been in a trouble in the past with my motherboard. Yeah, them's all pretty good options. Make sure your Windows and everything and your drivers is up to date. Make sure our BIOS is up to date. Yeah, XMP, if you turn on your XMP, it will do some funny stuff. If it ain't a stable overclock on the RAM, it will do some awful funny stuff to it will do some funny stuff to your system. I turn your RAM back to stock settings. If you had to go in and manually overclock that RAM to 2666, that RAM could be causing it, but you just said that you just manually overclocked it. You know, I know that RAM can do some funny stuff. I try to set that RAM back to stock. You know, I just go in and reset your BIOS to all default settings and see how the system runs at that point. You set all your drivers and your Windows and everything's up to date. That's about best advice I'd have for you. Just reset your BIOS to factory settings. I mean, you know, you reset that BIOS, I have a doubt because we touched the RAM. Nah, I have a doubt because we touched the RAM topic. I have doubts because of the RAM topic. Yeah, the RAM topic, especially with Verizon, is pretty touchy. I go in your BIOS, reset everything to default settings, see how it runs. I ordered a couple sticks of RAM, 3200 megahertz, very cheap, and I bet you they bit you in the ass too, huh, Wally? If not, it's good news. Yeah, but that, getting back here to the questions and comments here, but the legacy is like 16/20/20. Can I down that manually? Yeah, you should be able to downgrade that manually. And if you actually turn your timings up on your RAM, you'll have to usually cut them frequencies back some to make up for the extra speed of the RAM. Pews. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I love watching your videos. I want to join these live streams as often as I can. Nice. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Come in anytime. Like I said, I'm usually here Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, your videos rock, Dave. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm here just about every Saturday morning. I like to get into doing a little bit more. I'll see you later. You have a good day. Hate to see you leave, but I understand. That B550 Plus, it seems like it's going to be a pretty good motherboard. Like I said, I don't have much experience with them motherboards, so I really can't verify if they're a good motherboard or not. But by looking at the picture and what I've seen, they seem to be an alright motherboard. NK, I do not worry so much about RAM speed anymore for my gaming. I got 3200 megahertz running on 2133 or 2400 fine in games. Even the oldest DDR3 system does the job well. Yeah, the RAM speeds. The big thing with the RAM speeds, especially if you're talking Ryzen, Ryzen likes the faster RAM speeds. Even though it cuts down on everything else, it does like the faster RAM speeds, so you get a little bit better performance out of your CPU. But if the CPU is keeping up with the GPU with the RAM at 2133, there really ain't much reason to overclock your RAM. You know, the overclocking the RAM kind of goes hand in hand with the CPU usage. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. But the Ryzen, because they like the RAM speeds, you know, if your system's running fine on 2133 megahertz, and you don't see you know, bumping it up to 3200 ain't gonna make that big of a difference. The RAM speed just kind of helps out, or what should I say, gives a hand to the CPU to have it operate a little bit better or more efficient. Your videos are so specified with issues I always have. Well, thank you. I guess I kind of hit where you need to be hit at, I guess, huh? Some old setups still do their job, and very well though. I couldn't sleep, so I'm back. Blueberry Pie, welcome back. Glad you decided to come back into the live stream. Sorry you can't sleep. Of course, looking at my ugly mug right before you go to bed probably make you have nightmares. But I'm glad you're back anyways. Couldn't sleep, so I'm back, huh? I appreciate it. Well, that shows loyalty right there. Where was we at here? The 550 plus. I think I've hit on that one quite enough. Xanix X. Thank you so much, sir. It worked. I was on, did I brick my motherboard or not? That's where the SATA drive stopped the machine from even turning on after updating the BIOS. Yeah, when you go to update that BIOS, depending on what BIOS version you go to, sometimes you have some funny stuff that happens. And you think you may have bricked your motherboard, but by unplugging this or unplugging that, you know, it may actually solve the issue. kind of why I put that video out there, because I've never actually bricked the motherboard, but I thought I did. I actually ordered the second one of them because I thought I bricked mine, but it ended up I didn't brick it. Neil Vincent, thanks, sir. Just built a system, and my system was locking down all the time. I even changed the PSU, thinking it was faulty, but thanks to your video, and I was able to activate XMP profile memory is stable. I also installed the EZ2 utility from Google, which was causing problems and was not easy to use. So thank you again. That was on how to overclock your RAM. Well, you're more than welcome. I'm not sure on what EZ2 utility from Gigabyte even is. Never heard of it. But you're more than welcome. I'm glad I could help you out and get your computer back up and going. Dave, do you watch other TI YouTubers? There's a few that I watch. The ones I normally watch is the bigger ones. I enjoy Paul's Hardware. I enjoy his content. Cal over there, Bitwit. I enjoy his content. Jay's 2 Cents, I watched a good bit of his stuff. Hardware and Box, I watch a lot of his stuff. Game on Nexus, I watch a lot of his stuff. I don't get a whole lot of time to watch videos, but I normally watch them guys mainly on release days when I know new stuff's being released. You know, because they are bigger YouTubers. They get this stuff handed to them, which kind of makes me jealous, to tell you the truth. But, you know, that's kind of where I get my specs from on the new hardware that's coming out and whatnot. You know, because I really don't have time to sit down and read a whole article on what's going on in the tech industry or the new news or the new stuff that's coming out in tech. I really don't have time to do that. So I kind of look towards some of these bigger YouTubers to see what's coming out and what kind of performance they're giving. Tech Yes City, I watch his stuff. You know, and that's mainly why I watch them, which I do enjoy the content. They do a wonderful job, don't get me wrong, but they wouldn't be as big as they are. Linus Tech Tips, I watch his stuff from time to time. But he has a lot of people to feed. You know, he's got a lot of employees that count on him from day to day and whatnot. And he's kind of fallen away from the roots. What I mean by that, you know, it's a business to him. He runs a lot of ads. He has a lot of sponsor spots. He has a lot of, you know, it seems like his channel is more based around the money because he has a lot of mouths to feed compared to some of the smaller guys. Which I understand, you know, when you have a crew of people to feed, or a crew of people that depend on you for a paycheck, you know, you gotta write them checks. And I understand that. You know, his is more of it's like watching TV. You know, you ever notice when you watch TV, you watch a half-hour TV show, you break it down, you get maybe 10 to 15 minutes of show, the rest of them is advertisements. You know, and pretty well that's what Linus has became, because he has to. You know, because he has such a big team, he has such an overhead. He has to have them advertisements to be able to pay the bills. And I can understand that. But still, yet, if someone's sitting back on the outside watching videos, I don't want to watch something like that. And I'm hoping that my channel, you know, I hope it grows, but I hope it don't grow to the point where the money takes precedence over the content. You know, Paul's Hardware, he's over 1 million subscribers. Bitwit, he's over 2 million subscribers, I believe. Jay's 2 Cents, I think he's up to about 3 million subscribers. You know, but still yet these guys haven't had to feed into so much advertisement or so much, needing to make such a big profit off of the YouTube community where it's still manageable. They throw in some extra ads, they throw in some sponsor spots. Like I said, these guys got to pay bills. And I'm not to the point to where I have to pay my bills off of what I make, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to do this. But Linus, he's kind of got to the point to where he needs that revenue. He needs them sponsor spots. He needs so much advertisement to make the bills. And he throws it out there a hell of a lot. So I really don't watch a whole lot of his videos. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. And I understand as channels grow and you grow a team and whatnot, you need more revenue to keep everybody fed, and keep your employees going. I understand that. It is a business after all. But I'm hoping my channel never grows to where you have more advertisement time than you do content time. I don't know. Paul's Hardware, he does do sponsor spots from time to time. Bitwit, he does sponsor spots, but they're usually at the beginning of the videos. And then you have them little pop-up ads that pop up from time to time, which I can understand that. They're all passable, they're all closable. I can deal with that kind of stuff. Like I said, I realize that Linus, he's got a big old business going, and he's got hundreds of people working for him now and whatnot. He's got to pay all these people, and he's got to do what he's got to do to run his business. I understand that. I'm hoping I grow, but I'm hoping I don't grow to that point to where the advertisement or the money takes precedence over the content. So yeah, I do watch quite a few. It's usually to get reviews or benchmarks or performance numbers on new products coming out. And the guys that I mentioned, them are the guys that I enjoy watching. And they were Brian over at Techway City. I like watching his content. Because he does more of the budget stuff. I've never been much into the Xeons like he has been, but he does pretty good over there as well as at Techway City. So yeah, there is quite a few other YouTubers that I watch. Okay, my rant's over with. What else do we got? Yeah, it's a great responsibility. Yeah, it is. Even Gamers Nexus gets many information from Igor's lab, who has much less clicks. Yeah, he does. He does. Gamers Nexus, I like watching him as well. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier or not. I like watching his stuff. But my channel is kind of based around the basics, or the the entry level people when they're getting into computers. And he breaks it down to the point where you almost have to be a rocket scientist to understand what he's talking about. He gets into, breaking each little chip down and what makes up each little chip. And what, to me, it's just a little bit too technical for what most people are looking for. I mean, he does a great job, don't get me wrong. And he's got mouths to feed as well. But he breaks it down a little bit too much. I still kind of look at it as, I'm a noob. What do I need to know about this? What do I need to know about that? What's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? I still kind of have the noob outlook on it. Where I can kind of step back and look at the big picture and say, okay, this is what someone first getting into this industry needs to know. I don't break it down into quite as far as what Game of Nexus does. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm definitely different than most tech YouTubers out there. There's no question about it. And like I said, I kind of look at a new standpoint. I've been doing this for many years. I've been doing this since the 90s. But I still kind of look at it as someone just first getting into it and what they need to know, compared to someone's been into it for 20 years and knows all this technical BS that really don't really mean much in the end of the day. that real technical stuff like Game on Access and whatnot gets into matters to businesses more than it does the end user. I don't know, it's just kind of my opinion on it, but you know, I do turn to Game on Access for like his case reviews, his airflow testing and stuff like that, because I don't do airflow testing. I don't have the setup for it. You know, me, I put a system together. As long as the temperatures look good doing a stress test, it's a good case for airflow. You know, this is the case. This is what I got as airflow. This is what I got as exhaust. Temperatures was in check. And if you go much higher components than this, you may have issues, but at these components that I put into the case, they're good to go. You know, that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit of an oddball. Maybe that's why my channel ain't growing like it should, but you know, I am who I am. I think it's much tech entry part that gets people in. Yeah, you're right there. I think he has a good knowledge and I'll watch it too. But for me, it's a little faster and often too much. Trying to hang out here as well. But I want to thank you for hanging out with me. Like I say, Blueberry Pie, it's 11 p.m. now, LOL. Well, maybe y'all think about shutting them eyes and try not to have a nightmare after watching me right before bedtime. I mean, someone like me, you know, I can understand what Gabriel Nexus is coming from. I know what he's talking about, but someone that's new into computers and a lot of stuff that he talks about is really way over what most people need to know. You know, like I said, you know, that's more based for businesses and stuff like that. Not really for the end consumer. I don't know exactly how else to explain that. But he does put out good content. I know he has mouths to feed. You know, he's got a team behind him. He don't do all the testing and everything himself. You know, but still, yeah, he ain't like Linus. He ain't killing his videos with the advertisements and all the sponsor spots and stuff like that. Which I understand him. You know, like I said, he's got bills to pay. He's got mouth to feed. You know. And I'm hoping to be able to keep my channel modest. You know, I like to be able to grow to where I can get my channel up to where I can do it full time. But I also don't want to get it to where the money or the advertisements take precedence over the content. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too backwoods, a little too laid back, but that's kind of my thoughts on that. I do watch quite a few other YouTubers. Yeah, it's mainly the ones that get the products handed to them and they can actually do the benchmarks on time. You know, someone asked earlier if I got my hands on the 3000 series GPU or the 6000 series GPU. They've been out so long, you know, even if I get my hands on one now, I don't think it'd do the channel much good. Just for the simple fact that so many people have already covered it. There's so much information already out there on it. You know, which I'm still going to try to get one. You know, I'm looking at the 3070 or the entry-level 6000 series that they have out right now that competes with the 3070. But, you know, it's been out so long, there's so much information already out there on it, you know. I don't know how much good it'd actually do to put it up on the channel as far as channel growth goes. But I'm still trying to get one, you know. That's why I kind of look at them bigger YouTubers. That's why I watch their stuff. You know, they get the... And like I said, I am kind of jealous, you know, they get the stuff handed to them, you know. But it is what it is, you know, and when you have millions of viewers each, you know, every week, you know, it makes a big difference whenever people want to hand you products to review. At the end of the day, I sat here with my $500 machine, and much of what tech channels talk about I can't or don't want to afford. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're happy with the performance your computer's giving you, why worry about upgrading? I upgraded mine from the 2700 up to the 3950 extra lately. It's actually on the channel. And the only reason why I did that, I don't do it because I brag, yeah, it's $750 CPU, da da da. Who gives a shit? I need it for what I do with my machine. The 2700 was doing alright with the 4K video editing. But at the end of the day, a 3950X does that video editing so much faster than the 2700. That's why I upgraded. It saves me time. It was worth the expense to save the time to upgrade the CPU. I mean, if your $500 machine is working fine for you and does what you need it to do, don't worry about upgrading. I get that question quite often. When do I know when to upgrade my system? When it don't perform up to your standards. It's because there's new hardware out there. Don't mean you have to upgrade. It don't mean that, and don't let everybody talk you into, well, this is the newest, this is the greatest. As long as your machine does what you need it to do and you're happy with the performance, why worry about upgrading? Just like GPU upgrade. If it's playing your games that you play the most at the resolution you want to play at, then why worry about spending an extra $300 or $400 on a GPU? Why go up to the 3000 series for GPU? Why go up to the 5000 or 6000 series from AMD? Just because it's a little bit better performance. As long as your machine does what you need it to do, why upgrade? There's no reason to upgrade. I don't know, just my take on it, it's kind of the budget mind, I guess, behind me, but, if it does what you need it to do, at 2070 Super, I put it in the system. That RX 580 I got laying back there in that old Cooler Master case, it had done me fine. I didn't need that 2070 Super, but it gave me content for the channel, so I bought one. If it wasn't for the channel, I would have never bought it. I'd still been rocking that RX 580 8 gig card. At 2070, I don't even, I don't get the game a whole lot. So that 2070 is actually sitting in my system doing nothing. The other day, there on Thanksgiving, I actually played a little bit of Borderlands 3 for the first time for months. Hell, I forgot how to play. I had to go back through the tutorial to learn what buttons do what, because it's been so long since I got to play a game. I mean, that 2070, I paid, 2070 Super, I paid $550 for it. And I don't even get to stretch his legs. It don't even, most of my computer time, I'm editing video, I'm recording video, watching a few YouTube videos when new stuff comes out. I'm paying my bills, like everybody does, everybody does that anymore. I'm on Facebook maybe once today. Actually, the girlfriend yelled at me this morning because I wasn't even on Facebook at all yesterday. I forgot to do my happy birthdays and like what she put on her page. But that 2070 Super sets in my computer and really don't do nothing, but it gave me a little bit of content for the channel. Yeah, I think so too. And it does the job. I've seen some people really happy about your Gigabyte BIOS videos, and that's a great thing. People are actually setting their being able to use the PC again. Yeah, you're right. That Gigabyte updating the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450M, that is my top performing video. And just by updating that BIOS can stop you from having to upgrade your whole system, if you know how to do it. It's kind of hard to explain, but with the way it's actually set up, I mean, without getting too technical into it, and AMD is known for this, like the GPUs, their performance on the GPUs is a little less than what NVIDIA's is, But over time, AMD has better drivers and whatnot, comes out to maximizes the performance of the GPU, where NVIDIA really don't do that. When their drivers come out, they're at the max that you're going to ever get out of that card. AMD, on the other hand, when you first buy a graphics card or GPU made by them or by one of the board partners, it will actually go up over time and get better because their drivers ain't as mature or ain't as ready for release as when the cards are ready for release. You know, AMD wants to make sure their cards are going to sell before they spend all this money in software development. Is the way I look at it. I could be wrong on that. Alright guys, enough of the rant. Let's get back over here to the comments. Where was we at? I don't even know where I was at. Thank you, sir. I built the system. The PSU. Also unstable. Okay, yeah, I done read that one. We have Gus Bro 17. What these rules can for the Ryzen 5 3600 to carry out daily activities safely. I'm going to take that as one of them questions of what he can get out of his components if overclocking the Ryzen 3600. And I really don't have a straight answer for that. Depending on the motherboard that you have, I'm assuming you're using the B450 MDS3H motherboard from Gigabyte, which I can't be sure of. What can he get out of his 3600? I really can't answer that question. I really don't have an answer for that. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I've had too many beers this morning, but I'll be right back. Alright guys, I am back. I finally made it back. Imagine that, huh? Baxter, 1878, you're here. How you doing today, bud? I'm late. Been putting the Christmas tree up. You, hope you are well. I'm fine, buddy. Glad you could join me. Hey, he's back. Yes, I'm back. I made it back. I made it back. Putting up the Christmas tree, huh? Getting close to that Christmas season, ain't it? I think the girlfriend put ours up, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know. I don't get much into it. Sorry about that intermission, guys. I'm going to need to come up with a screen for that, but every once in a while the beer kind of takes over. You know what I mean? It kind of fills up the bladder. Gotta get rid of it every once in a while. Let's see here. Where was we at on the questions? What's the rules for the 3600? Yeah, that's kind of one of them overclocking questions I really can't answer. To be safe for overclocking 3600, and depending on your motherboard, it's kind of hit and miss. You know, it's kind of the fun of the overclocking thing that I got into at the beginning. We have MDJ WP 55 minutes ago. Thanks, really helped me out. That was on overclocking your RAM on the Gigabyte B550M DS3H motherboard. Well, thank you. I'm glad you found some good information in that video, and I was able to help you get that RAM up to where you needed it to be. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad you watched the video. Gus Pro 17 again. Please provide a tutorial for overclocking the Ryzen 3600 4.2 GHz on the Gigabyte B450 motherboard, which is safe and used every day playing games and editing videos. Please make this tutorial because I am looking for a tutorial. I have not found the right one like your video, which is very easy to understand and beginners like me. Please help me. The B450 motherboard, I still have that. The Ryzen 3600, I still have that, but I still need to get this system put together to be able to sell it. I will consider on doing that. I wonder the 3600 if you can even buy one. I will consider doing that video. Am I looking at that right? Ships from China, and it's going for $320 for a 3600. Wow. Wowzy, wowzy. People must be nuts. 3600 XT going for $600. 3600X going for $244. Wow. Okay. Doing the 3600 on the Gigabyte B450 motherboard. I will see what I can do about doing that one, but there's no promises on that one. Crazy money that. Mine was 180 euro. Yeah, you're right. I ain't paying that kind of price for a 3600. I do still have the B450 motherboard. The system that houses that 3600, I actually need to try to get it sold get it ready for sale before the Christmas season here. I think around Christmas right now, with the way the port selection is, it'd be kind of foolish not to sell the system. I will consider on doing that video, but I will not grant it at them prices for the 3600. The 3600 is in that $900 build system, which is right there behind me. You get the RGB put in it for I can get it sold. And even if I do use my 3600 and my B450M DS3H motherboard, it may not be the same thing as he can get out of his. My settings may not be right for his components. I think it may be a waste of time to do that video. If I can pick up a 3600, I mean, even on eBay, them things are probably going outrageous right now. Let's see here, Ryzen 5 3600. What do we got? Sale price. Yeah. 3600 going for $212. For $250, $220. Yeah. If I can get that video done with the B450 motherboard before and still have time to sell that system, maybe I'll consider doing that video. Which that kind of completes the comments and the questions and concerns for this past week. I appreciate all the views and the likes and the shares and everything I've got this week. I really like it. Really appreciate them. You know, all the comments and everything that goes on the channel. I really appreciate everything you guys do for me. I know some of you even watch the videos that don't concern you, and you guys watch them anyways. I want to thank you for that. It means a lot to me. I just refreshed the comment page, and it don't look like anything else has came in. So yeah, there's that. Now we'll get to the part of the live stream where I say, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, throw them over there in that there chat window. Looks like we've gained about 10 subscribers over the last week, so the community's still growing. It's growing kind of a slow pace, but it's still growing. And maybe because I'm still a small YouTuber, you know, I really appreciate every watch that I get every, you know, every minute of view time that I get. I really appreciate the comments. I really appreciate you guys coming in, taking time out of your busy life schedule to hang out with me on Saturday morning. I really appreciate. Like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, over here on the side of me over here, it's the $600 gaming PC. It's sitting in front of a 27-inch OAC. I've actually been working on that this morning. I've got that one sold. The guy I work with is actually buying it for a 12-year-old son of his to get him into PC gaming. But I gave him a pretty good deal on it with the monitor and everything. He said his boy'd like to have the RGB aspect to it, which he don't know it's coming, but I'm going to add 2 extra strips to it to give his boy some extra RGB inside the case, because it comes with just the 2 RGB fans in the front. Just as a Christmas present to his 12-year-old boy, I'm going to add a couple of RGB strips to the inside, just give him a little bit more bling. But I've been working on that. I put the 3.5-inch 2 terabyte hard drive in it. Got it all allocated and everything. I reinstalled, got the benchmarks for that system done, which will be coming up this week, hopefully. I got all the benchmarks done. I did Heaven benchmark, and I think there was 5 games, or was it 6 games that I actually tested. Someone requested in my last one to do CSGO. I actually did some investigating on that. And you gotta go in and make quite a few changes to CSGO and to the Reaver, which is MSI Afterburner, to be able to get them stats up on CSGO. But I figured out how to do it. So on the 1650 OC benchmark video coming up this week, I got Apex Legends, I got Borderlands 3, I got CSGO, I got Heaven benchmark, I got the Division 2 benchmark, and Fortnite benchmark. If you guys know of any games that you'd like to see me test, let me know in the comments or over there in the chat. Either way. And Borderlands 3, I kind of run it because I have it. It's available to me. It kind of does the Techway title, unoptimized kind of game. You know, so it's kind of, it's kind of a harder game to run. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, it's coming up on the 1650 OC benchmarking. I'm hoping to get it done this week finally. I've been trying to run the benchmarks for the last couple of weeks or so. Between having a personal life and pets and work and a full-time job between 50 to 60 hours a week and everything else, it's kind of hard for me to get them longer videos done. There's a lot of editing that goes into them. There's a lot of, and my ideals in the space that I work in here in this spare bedroom in my home, which is what I work out of, it ain't really ideal for benchmarking video cards, but I make sure I get them done the best that I can. So, COD Warzone is free, Dave, I think, and very popular. COD Warzone, that's on Steam, I believe. I have to keep that one in mind. I know a lot of people benchmarks that one. Oh yeah, of course. Got in on the password. Hold on a second, fellas. I got to put in a password. Can you believe that? A password. They want a password. I don't know why they would want a password to get into a video game site. But anyways, the Warzone. I'll keep that one in mind. I know that one is very popular. Warzone. I know that one is very popular. It's a very high demanded game. Maybe it ain't on Steam. Am I wrong? It's not on Steam? Let's see here. I thought that was on Steam. COD Warzone. Cold War? Warzone. Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone. Who actually puts it out? I want it for PC. Free. Play to free. Play for free. Alright, let's play. Okay. Well, I'm actually downloading Warzone now. I don't know, like I said, I've already got into video, editing a video for the 1650 OC. So I may not, I probably won't add it into this next benchmarking video coming up. But I do have it downloading. Those don't need me to restart my computer. English US, thank you. Oh, let's do BattleNet. Oh, I don't know about that one. Maybe I have to put a second thought into that one. Which Blizzard and BattleNet and all that's pretty good. I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day. I had a lot of problems with getting hacked and whatnot, and I don't like dealing with that. That's one reason why I got away from World of Warcraft, because it was getting hacked and whatnot. And it was just too much hassle just to be able to play a game. But it's possible. Maybe I'll add that to my benchmarking suite. It is a pretty popular game right now. Like I said, I do have a $600 system sold for the holiday present. The $900 build over, well, I guess it's over that shoulder. back there. I want to put some RGB or ARGB in it before I can get it sold. I'm not too sure on doing that B450M DS3H overclocking with the 3600. Them motherboards is pretty lackluster when it comes to overclocking. They are a budget motherboard. They are designed to overclock, but they don't do the best job of it. Oh, excuse me. And the only 3600 I have available is in that $900 system I got behind me. Maybe I can squeeze out an overclocking video out of that CPU before I sell the system. But it is getting awful close to the Christmas time here locally, which is a big time for selling PCs, especially when the components are so hard to come by right now. But we'll see about that. Maybe I'll do an overclocking video on that one. Not too sure. And like I said, this week I'm hoping to be able to get done that benchmarking for the 1650, which is the $600 gaming system back there. I did some more, finished up the benchmarking today on it. I got to do the intro, the outro. I do have that system sold already to a guy I work with. So spent part of the morning this morning trying to get it ready. I rewiped the SSD, reinstalled Windows 10 Pro on it for him, got it activated for him. Added a 3.5 inch 2 terabyte hard drive for mass storage for him. That way it's ready for his boy. I actually ordered 2 RGB strips for it. Just as a Christmas, I mean, he's buying for a Christmas present for a 12-year-old boy. You know, he's gonna want the RGB, so I'm gonna add the 2 RGB strips into it for his boy for free. I'm having a little bit of problems with the fans on the front. I actually reached out to Cooler Master to see if I can get some replacement fans shipped to me. The fans just, at random times, the fans just quit working. But you pull off the side panel or you pull off the front panel, you give them a little spin with your finger and they start working again. So there's something wrong with the fans on that system. If I can't get them in before Christmas, for him, I do have them other fans in the back there. I'm going to hook up into it, make sure it's done and it's correct for him before I sell it to him. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns, throw them over there in chat. I'm getting ready to wrap up for the day. I've been gone for a little over 2 hours now. Today's been a pretty active live stream. I want to thank you all that's joined me here this morning. And decided to give up some of your personal time. Just come hang out with me and talk tech and watch me get drunk. Watch me drink some beer and watch me go use the bathroom and whatnot. That probably wasn't very appropriate. But that's what happens on live streams, right? There ain't no editing any of it out. Alright guys, I think I'll wrap it up for today's live stream. If you like this kind of content, make sure you go down and hit that like button. If not, there's that dislike button. There's that comment section below. I'll go through them every weekend on my live stream here at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. on Saturday mornings. And also, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. If you like, come over there and follow me. Yeah, don't kill your inbox. But I do give you photos of stuff that you got coming in. Kind of give you an idea what's coming up on the channel and whatnot. There's also where I want to notify you of any changes to the live stream. If it may be a cancellation or a delay in the time because my full-time job's interfering with my YouTube career or whatnot, that's where you get them. If you really like this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell. That way you know next time I put a video or I go live here on YouTube. And with all that being said, you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.